Sweet Christmas. LuZoCast turned 21. That means we can finally drink. Join us while we discuss Luke Cage, WestWorld, Star Wars, and more.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to a big episode 21
We're all of
of
age now.
the LuZoCast, which
LuZoCast
means
can drink now.
LuZoCast can drink. Not that we haven't been
Cheers.
drinking, but cheers. 21.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Cheers. So, yes, welcome. I'm Krishna. This is Arjuna, Sarah, and Ravi. We have an action-packed episode for you today, but real quick, how's everyone doing? Any major developments?
About a Christmas tree.
Did you really?
did?
You actually did, yeah.
What? Why? We're having Christmas over here.
Yeah, it's
So?
a little 3-foot Christmas tree.
You
It
have
was
Christmas tree to
$15.
decorate.
We're getting a 10-foot.
So,
We're getting
folks,
a 9-foot tree.
In case
When
you're
did it go up
watching,
to 10?
in case you're watching this 3 months in the future, we're not even close to like Halloween yet.
Yeah.
Arjuna went ahead and bought
It's
a
middle
Christmas
October.
tree.
Well,
Yeah.
no, we're about to have to buy one too because you buy
yeah.
it too close and you pay too much.
Yeah, Home Depot just put their stuff, all their Christmas stuff out.
Oh, nice.
So,
Ooh.
How much?
We got our Christmas tree for $15.
That's awesome. That's really good.
And
That's
every-
smart.
Everything's in stock. It's all the newest stuff.
Speaking of Christmas, let's move right into Luke Cage, whose favorite line is "Sweet Christmas."
Sweet Christmas.
Sweet.
See what I did there?
Sweet
Yeah.
sister.
Christmas.
So
Sweet Christmas.
everyone here just finished the season, correct?
Yes.
You guys watched the last episode? Okay, good. So we're all caught up. Let's real quick your thoughts on the season. Sarah, let's start with you.
I enjoyed it. I did. Are we going in depth here?
No, you don't have to go
Okay.
crazy. Just your general thoughts, like what you liked. You know.
What was your favorite camera shot?
I need
Yeah.
you to stop.
Like what stood out, what didn't.
I don't know. I gotta think on it a little. I enjoyed it though. Really, I think I liked the first half better than the second half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they didn't develop. They should have developed the Diamondback character more throughout, instead of him
Yes.
magically appearing. And I thought that they wasted Cottonmouth a little bit.
Yes.
I feel like they could have had a lot more crossover with those two and done a lot more with it. So
Yes.
that's it. But that said, I really did like the show. I liked Claire.
Oh,
Claire, yeah,
the
Claire-
Take her. I've always liked her, and I like Rosario Dawson. So,
Right. Yeah, she's solidly
but
good.
the
in
character's
all the
great. Yeah.
shows.
and I'm glad they
Yeah,
pulled her
I-
even more into this one than
yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I think Claire, along with the character Misty Knight, were probably the two strongest points of the show for me, at least. Especially in the back half. I know we all came in last week. We talked about that first half up until what we had seen, and I think really after that point, pretty much after Cottonmouth dies, the show kind of tails off. And it's just the development all feels kind of rushed. It almost feels like it's just breakneck speed of different things happening. You have Diamondback that comes in, and immediately as Diamondback comes in, who's been mentioned at various points throughout the show, instead of that being the big reveal, the reveal is he's the brother of Luke Cage. It feels kind of out of left field.
Yeah.
That they're trying to do too much.
And even the scene when he's like, "I'm your brother," it's like right in front of that like dump truck, and
He shoots
it wasn't as impactful as you think it should have been.
Yeah, it felt like... So I feel like what they were trying to do with Diamondback was what they did with Wilson Fisk in the first season of Daredevil, build up this character from the shadows. I mean, Wilson Fisk wasn't seen in, the first 3 or 4 episodes of Daredevil. But the problem with that was Wilson Fisk was way more menacing off-screen of everything that was going on, while Diamondback felt like there wasn't enough mention of him, and then when he did come into play, it just wasn't that same impact for whatever reason. And it felt like they were trying to do a lot of things. The character of Mariah, Cottonmouth's cousin. They kind of... I feel like after watching the show, the idea behind it was to show her rise into this kind of...
Well, she's the baddie for
And,
next season or whatever, or at least one of them.
And I feel like that could have been done in a better way. I thought the acting was great. I think the weakest part of the show was the writing, in terms of just the development of each of these characters, and even Luke Cage himself. There were a lot of different personal things that happened to him, such as finding out that his Reva had kind of lied to him, and it didn't feel like there was enough time for him to really process that.
Right.
It was about 2 minutes, and then it was never really brought up again, and he kind of just dealt with it. I just feel like, especially with Daredevil and Jessica Jones, very flawed heroes, having to deal with a lot of different things, it just felt like he just kind of went, breakneck speed through his different things and dealt with them in a single scene.
Yeah, absolutely. Ravi?
So I'd consider it to pretty close to Daredevil season 2.
Yes,
where
exactly.
The first 3-4 episodes amazing, with the Punisher and so forth, and then it just kind of around 5 and 6 it just kind of fell short. Mm-hmm. The exact same thing happened here again, and I'm wondering, are we falling into some kind of what's that word I'm looking for?
Bad habits.
Not bad habits, but like cookie cutter formula type thing with Netflix.
It makes you wonder.
Kind of nerve wracking because Jessica Jones, for its many, many flaws in terms of its kind of up and down in terms of story, it still kind of kept you on the edge of your seat every other episode, if you will. Mm-hmm. Same with the first season of Daredevil, while Daredevil season 2, now Luke Cage, around that mid area towards the end, my interest, being on the edge of my seat, just kind of what?
Some of the episodes became a chore.
Yes, definitely.
That said,
definitely a chore.
We took a break for a few days in between the two halves, and I wonder if we had continued to watch straight through.
No, we took a break, though, because it was getting taxing.
Yeah.
It was, like Christian said, it became a chore.
No,
There's an episode that we started, and then we were just like, okay, I'm done with this. Let's watch something else for right now. And that's interesting because Netflix is kind of unofficially, to a degree, kind of said, or not said, but to a degree, you go to Netflix because you want to binge watch something because you want to get through it. I just find it interesting that, with Daredevil season 2, now Luke Cage, just like right around that midpoint. Honestly, I could have put it away and waited more than a week, 2-3 weeks, and been like, maybe I'll pick it back up.
Yeah, I think the problem with both Luke Cage and Daredevil season 2 is there's not enough focus on one thing. They're just trying to do too much.
A lot.
With each of those seasons, and it just loses focus. While Daredevil season 1, all about Wilson Fisk. Jessica Jones, all about Kilgrave. And about those type of conflicts, and both Daredevil and Luke Cage would have benefited if Luke Cage had just been about his interaction with or dealing with Cottonmouth, or even Diamondback, or just one or the other, instead of doing both with Mariah, with the Seagate and Shades. It just felt like there's a bunch of it was muddy.
I will say though, I don't know if we're on to the section of our favorite parts.
No, yeah, please. It's
my favorite part, and this is going to sound very strange, unless you've watched Sons of Anarchy.
I was going to say.
I'm very happy that Shades survived the whole thing.
You know what, though?
He was actually really good.
He lasted through the first season of Sons of Anarchy, too.
True.
He lasted through almost the entire series, so.
Wait a second, he dies?
No.
Oh, spoilers!
I haven't watched it.
You should watch Sons of Anarchy if you haven't watched it at this point. I'm
in the middle of like season 4. I need to restart season 4 to keep going.
Oops, sorry.
No, don't worry about it.
It's not anytime soon.
Sons of Anarchy, you get the feeling that most of those guys
I have a feeling that show ends with most of those guys.
Yeah,
it does.
It's pretty awesome show.
I like when he said to Diamondback, "What you talking about, Willis?"
Oh, that was
pretty funny.
There are some pretty funny references.
There were some good one-liners.
Method Man being in there.
Method Man at the end. That was sweet.
I love it.
Would you guys say this was the most of the 3 shows so far lighthearted?
Yes.
Like the others had like some really dark and depressing themes, and this one did too, no doubt about it. But it also it had a little more humor to it, which I kind of enjoyed. Yeah, it wasn't so like Daredevil season 2 especially got like so dark and brooding at some point.
So you're right, and I like that they went in a different direction. I really do. But some of that humor to me sometimes came off as like way too cheesy. And I understand they're trying to like, oh, you're so corny. Like that line said to Luke Cage so many times, but I'm like, but yeah, it's so corny and it's getting old. And I'm like,
I didn't think it got old, and I thought that was kind of the point because I'm sure if you look at some of the Luke Cage comics, I've never read the Luke Cage comics, but it's very comic book humor, which is it's not at all. Oh, I'm sorry, you're shaking your head.
He's probably agreeing.
I meant nobody here. I don't think anybody here has read.
Because I mean,
right.
like the one-liners in comic books are always cheesy. They're always that campy humor, and I did actually like that.
I did too.
I like that they did it and that they did the humor came from the little throwback comments and the one-liner quips. I liked that a lot.
I will say my favorite part of the whole season was actually the flashbacks to when he's in Seagate, that whole sequence, but especially the end when he's wearing like clearly, and I don't even read Luke Cage, but I knew just by looking at what they were trying to do.
It was a throwback.
It was a throwback, and it was awesome. I was like, this is what they're throwing back to, and he like takes it off at the end. He's like, wait, what? He throws it away. He's like, this is not who I am. So, okay. So real quick then. So looking forward. We have Iron Fist coming up
March 17th.
Okay, we have a date. That's awesome.
Yeah.
The last couple Marvel Netflix seasons maybe, started off well and then kind of dive bomb. How do you see Iron Fist going? What are your guesses for it? If you have any insights you have into the show, please reveal them now. Iron Fist and Luke Cage actually in the comics have a very close friendship. How do you think that might play in? Any thoughts on how you see this thing going forward?
I don't think it'll play in this first season because I think if I had to assume, Luke Cage will be in jail in some form until the early Defenders.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're going to keep Iron Fist. Iron Fist is also very different from these first threes. He's very supernatural. He's gone to
Doctor Strange-esque.
Think almost Batman-esque in terms of he's a billionaire who went to train with monks for 15 years after his parents died or something like that.
Well, that's good to know because I know absolutely nothing about Iron Fist.
And
I really have I don't know anything.
In the comics,
he
gets his powers by punching a dragon and getting super mystical powers.
Where'd the dragon come from?
I'm not sure. I'm not entirely sure. I don't know very much.
I would like to see how they do that. I like to see how they do that in this sort of because the Marvel the Netflix Marvel shows have definitely set it up to be sort of a gritty realism. So bringing in this other character now, I'd be curious to see how what they use to show him punching a dragon. Maybe it might not be that crazy.
Well, it's also not. It's also kind of like Luke Cage. They're not showing how he has his powers. It's him coming back to New York after 15 years to kind of reclaim his family name and also battle being Iron Fist. It's been Iron Fist for a while apparently.
But if I know,
sure.
they will do flashbacks.
Well, they'll have to do a little bit because people you can't just leave that just hanging there like, oh well, I'm magical and wonderful, but you don't know how I got this.
It seems the Netflix shows love their flashbacks.
Well, what I'm interested to see
it's kind of Arrow-esque, honestly, but not as bad and painful.
What I'm interested to see with Iron Fist is, in terms of the mystic powers and whatnot, it connects a lot to Doctor Strange and, the mysticism of the MCU. Now, will there be a crossover? No. But I'm sure there will be some type of references, connections, the organic ones that the MCU likes to do. And the last thing that I've read about it, the showrunner has said that the Iron Fist will be the most... It'll still be dark and gritty, but it'll be the most lighthearted of the four shows.
More than Luke Cage.
Yeah, because Iron Fist is a very optimistic character.
Oh,
he has a much more optimistic outlook on the world. While Daredevil, Matt Murdock is very, doesn't, very.
So Iron Fist, he actually before when he's fighting, he's kind of a Spider-Man-esque, where he kind of, trolls, if you will, his opponents.
Yeah.
Cool.
He also says, at least, so the only exposure I've ever had to Iron Fist is in animated form, like TV shows. More recently, The Amazing Spider-Man.
Wait, he was in there?
Is that a good show?
Very good show.
I really want to pick that up.
I mean, that's where I get all my Marvel.
Is it on Netflix?
It's the first season or two are on Netflix.
Okay, I'm going to start watching
It's a Disney XD show, and the first season is very heavy. Him, Power Man, Iron Fist.
Oh, cool.
I forget her other. There's a female character as well, but he's very like enemies will say something like, oh, I'm going to destroy you, and he'll come back with, well, the power of da 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 will prevent that. Like, it's very funny and corny. So if you found Luke Cage to be corny, I think
it's only going to get worse.
This could be bad. This could be really bad.
If I had to guess, I'm assuming we're gonna whenever those two, Iron Fist and Luke Cage, they're just gonna bounce.
No wonder they're friends.
Corny jokes off of each other.
Friends.
So now,
consistently.
when we were watching Luke Cage at the end of the last episode, where Claire sees the thing about self-defense,
yeah, that's a reference to a character.
Yes.
Yeah, so you said that you thought that would pull an Iron Fist.
Potentially,
but
or at least Claire into Iron Fist.
Yes,
Yeah,
except I'm just, this is something I just looked at. I just looked in good old IMDb. Misty Knight the character of Misty Knight is listed in Iron Fist so far, but Claire is not. That said, they only show like 1 or 2 episodes, and Claire is a slow burn. She usually comes in a little later.
If you check Wikipedia, she's listed as the main cast
in Iron Fist. Okay.
Oh, cool.
Did you go and
Wikipedia.
put that in yourself?
I was gonna say, you know how Wikipedia.
So IMDb, you can also.
So last question then before we move on. So the Defenders, this just came to me. So the Defenders is, obviously this team of these 4, maybe 5 heroes if we pull in the Punisher.
They're not heroes.
They're anti-heroes.
Okay, these people with abilities
you think I'm a hero?
coming together to fight some common goal.
What's your name, the Punisher?
Sigourney Weaver.
How do you think the personalities coming together? So we talked really quickly, very interestingly, about like how Iron Fist is super optimistic, Luke Cage is kind of corny, Jessica Jones and Matt Murdock, much darker take on life. How do you see that maybe playing out? To me, it sounds very Watchmen-esque.
Very simple, actually. I think
nice balance.
Daredevil's going to jump in, and he's going to try and get everybody to work together.
Daredevil. Interesting.
Luke Cage is still going to be conflicted because he's going to look at it as, look, I try and do some good, and guess where it gets me? It gets me thrown into jail.
And people killed.
Jessica Jones is going to be fearful of hurting loved ones because of the whole Kilgrave thing.
Awesome.
And Iron Fist...
TBA.
We're not sure yet.
Well, if I had to make an edgy...
He'd be for it.
I think he would be for it, but he's going to be hesitant. So if out of the 3, I would say he would back Daredevil... sooner than the other 2 would.
So the common theme I see between all of the shows, obviously we haven't seen Iron Fist yet, they're all reluctant heroes and they don't want to ever work with anybody, and they've already described Claire Temple as a character that brings them all together.
Yeah.
But it's none of them are going to want to work together.
Well, that said though, to this point,
Sure.
they don't know or really come into too much contact outside of the Luke Cage and Jessica Jones thing. They came into contact, but not in that context.
Sure.
So they haven't actually really come into contact with other gifted people or whatever you want to call them, while they've been also in that same position. So, of course, they've worked individually, aside from the fact that the show is only about them. So whatever. Sure. But they, that I don't know that I think.
But
I agree that Jessica and Luke are definitely more loners. I mean, they're also the darker of the two as far as personality. And the kind of reluctance to even be a hero.
But think about like Daredevil season 1 and 2. He didn't want to tell anyone he is. He tries to keep them away as far as possible. He didn't want to work with Elektra. He didn't want to work with Punisher. And all those type of things. I just don't see... And then also, he doesn't see, the whole religion thing. He doesn't see what he does as righteous, but as necessary. So I feel like there will be... No, I want to work alone. No, I want to work alone. No, I want to work alone. I want to work with you guys.
Probably a bit, but again...
So I don't know if that'd be the overarching theme, but I bet initially that's going to be...
Yeah, but I'm sure it's going to be Claire that comes in first and says, hey, get...
Because we've already seen shades of it. I know a great lawyer.
Yeah.
I like, your ex-girlfriend.
Elektra and Punisher are not gifted, not the same way. So this is why they might be a little more... It'll be easier for them to come together because they're not... The reason he didn't say anything is he's reluctant to hurt people that can't defend themselves. These other people can defend themselves. They can take care of themselves. So you're going to be a little more likely to work with people that aren't going to get hurt by you or by your gifts because they also have their own gifts.
Plus there was that picture at New York Comic Con, like a selfie, and they all were smiling. So clearly they like each other.
That was the actor.
Off screen.
Nope.
Wait, last question.
That's actually the people.
Last
They're
question.
not actors.
Will it be Black Hand for Defenders?
What do you mean by black? Like
Black Hand's the shadow organization, I believe, that shows up in Daredevil.
We do know it's Sigourney Weaver.
Right, but we just got more intel off of Luke Cage. There's another group, right, through Seagate. Seagate also is where Kilgrave...
I feel like it's the same one.
Kilgrave, and also, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't that also the
Hammer.
same program that gives Jessica Jones indirectly her powers? the Seagate program.
So
I don't remember how Jessica
joined. So Jessica got her powers after a car accident that killed her whole family.
Right,
but her parents or something worked.
Right, but we don't know. It's never anything.
I thought they said they worked for Seagate.
Oh, I don't remember that part. That might have been a throwaway line. It wouldn't surprise me if that was it.
Oh, didn't they say something about her parents? There was something about her power. Did her parents?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna look.
It's something.
So I think it's Seagate and Black Hand they're all connected. But we'll see.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same organization.
Like the Shadow.
Like it makes sense, right?
Yeah.
So you've got this what is it? Demon / superpower thing.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you also want to give whatever that thing is a bunch of power people?
Well, here's another question, right? We also have a few villains perhaps being set up that aren't main villains, but could be Diamondback, Elektra. Could they all come back in the Defenders miniseries as
they're Fisk, obviously
the bad version of the Defenders that can physically go hand in hand with each of these characters?
Speaking of
that'd be kind of cool.
Speaking of Fisk, do you think there's going to be a team up between Fisk and what's her name?
Mariah.
Yeah,
I think that's totally what they were going for.
Yeah,
she's on this. They want to build her up to catch up to Kingpin, so they're on the same level.
She's kind of already ahead. She's a valued politician,
but she doesn't know the rules of the game yet.
Yeah,
so she's not there. She's not there yet.
She's not there yet, but she's got a very high seat of power.
Yes,
she has a budding romance with Shades.
That was the worst part. I'm sorry. There was no reason for that.
It was really awkward too.
And also, I'm sorry, but I can't call him Shades. He's always going to be Juice to me, and that is. We keep watching, and he'd do something. I'm like, go Juice. That's not his name.
Isn't his name Theodore Rossi?
It's Theo Rossi.
Yeah. Theo Rossi. Okay.
But he is Juice. He will forever be
Italian.
Juice to me.
He's Italian.
Juice.
But okay, let's move on. We did a lot of good stuff with Luke Cage and Defenders.
Luke Cage?
So on to another show that we have started watching, WestWorld. WestWorld is the new HBO show. We're on week 2. Episode 3 should be coming out tonight, hopefully, right?
Sunday night.
Sunday at 6 p.m.
Oh, tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow. Or today.
Depending on when you're watching this.
So WestWorld. So your initial thoughts on the show. Let's open it up. Who has something cool to say?
So, I think for us, right?
I didn't see the second episode, so I can't.
Sure. But for the first episode, we went in blind.
Oh, no, I didn't.
Oh, you didn't. I went 100% blind. I had no idea about it. I have not been following it.
Same.
I know absolutely nothing about it.
Yeah.
And it blew my socks off. Yep. And maybe I should start doing that for everything.
Probably.
Yes.
And you know what? To be fair, I only knew a little bit, and it's only because our vet told me about the original movie.
Gotcha.
And told me I should watch it because he knows he's a huge nerd,
so
and he knows I'm a nerd.
I heard this from I think one of LuZo's good friends, Michael Lehrman. Or no, maybe it was Aaron Harris. One of them.
Shout out to both of them.
Less good
and Michael.
One of them had mentioned that it's directed by Criterion, right? I forget his first name.
Michael.
Is it Michael Criterion?
Isn't it Crichton?
Michael
Crichton.
Okay, it's Crichton.
I like Criterion, but it is definitely Crichton.
Crichton. It's Michael.
Anyway,
Crichton,
the writer of Jurassic Park,
among other things. Yeah.
What's interesting though, this is one of his only films that made it into the Criterion collection. You know, the best of the best films, the thought-provoking films, the films that supposedly transcend.
Really.
Well,
transcend art and so forth.
They put blockbusters in there too.
Some blockbusters, not a lot.
Yeah.
But what they were also suggesting, I think that we should all do is when this series is over for the first season, I think we should go back and look at the 1973 film and kind of figure it out. I have a lot of theories, but I don't want to take up too much time.
We have time.
Okay,
please.
My favorite theory so far, I have two fun theories. First, the doctor who is African American, whose name
Jeffrey Wright is the actor.
You.
I don't know who the character. I forget the character's name.
So Jeffrey Wright's character, he is a host. He's not real. And the reason I'm suggesting this, and I got...
Which character is this? I'm sorry, you got to place it.
The Jeffrey Wright.
The other scientist.
The other scientist that works under Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
So the other reason is awesome. Hannibal, or... What's his name?
Anthony Hopkins.
Anthony Hopkins' character.
Odin.
So
you can leave him at Hannibal. That's fine.
great.
I like it with Hannibal.
So the reason I'm saying, what was it, Jeffrey Wright?
Jeffrey Wright.
The reason I'm saying Jeffrey Wright might be a robot or a host is because Anthony Hopkins, remember when he actually enters WestWorld? He's talking to the little kid and he's bouncing ideas off the kid about,
which is, I assume,
the world
himself
and
as a kid.
and the world and so forth, and then he turns him off. There are a lot of times we see Anthony Hopkins talking one-on-one with Jeffrey Wright, bouncing ideas off, talking about philosophical things. I think Jeffrey Wright's character is kind of he's putting him in there, right, to kind of give everything a next level. And I think Jeffrey Wright is also the guy or the thing that's kind of starting to screw up the world by talking with, what's her name? The
oldest one. The oldest
host.
We have to get rid of
And
these
then,
things.
hang on, I'm trying to pull this up so we can
and
see.
then my last theory.
Yes, that's awesome, by the way.
Sure. My last theory is the Black Rider. What's his name? The old guy, Ed Harris.
Ed Harris, dude.
Ed Harris's timeline is not the same timeline as what we're seeing. Ed Harris's timeline is the present timeline. The stuff that we saw with in the second. Sorry, Sarah.
That's okay. You can.
The stuff we saw with the younger kid entering WestWorld who put on the white hat.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That's Ed Harris as a kid. They're showing us in the second episode. They're showing us two different timelines.
No.
Think about it.
Wait, what? Where are you going? Like, how are you getting this?
So the reason I bring that up is because you see him and his friend, right? And you see all of the hosts, right?
Yes.
But you never see any kind of direct interaction with their current world and the others, like the actual people running everything.
And you think they're hosts?
Wait, no,
those two aren't hosts.
Those two aren't hosts. Those are guests.
So Ed Harris is...
He's a guest. He's an actual guest.
From a different timeline?
No.
So he's saying we're seeing it at two different points of time.
Yeah.
So the stuff we see in the second episode of those two is the past.
Yeah.
And Ed Harris's stuff with everything else is in the present.
Yeah. So
Which
that's all I have to say
which
about
would
that.
make so much sense.
The
we'll
host, the oldest host girl
Yes.
is Dolores.
Dolores is the one.
Oh, man.
So Jeffrey Wright has...
Who is named Bernard.
Bernard has continuous conversations with Dolores in secret. And I think Anthony Hopkins...
Dr. Robert Ford,
who creates all the hosts, he created Bernard as a means to kind of accelerate and see where all this goes, because Dr. Ford... Right?
Yes.
Dr. Ford basically says, I think it's in maybe the second episode, he said, look at us as a human race. We're basically God now. So we can basically just kick back and whatever. We're done. The hosts, all of this, that's the future. So why wouldn't you create a host and see what a host would do if it thinks it's human?
Oh, my God.
So
I'm just going to say real quick, the theory that Ravi just laid out.
Which
one? The Ed Harris, if Ed Harris is the present timeline of the guy who puts on the white hat in episode 2 is real, you heard it here first on LuZoCast, because that is brilliant. I love it.
Also, quick disclaimer, I didn't come up with that theory myself.
I don't care. We put it out there. We did it.
Once again, I want to give credit where credit is due.
Yes.
That theory comes from Michael Lehrman. That's a Michael Lehrman theory.
It's a good theory.
It's a great theory. We talked about it when I met him for lunch at Coffee Commissary. Great place. Coffee Commissary in
We'll have him on for future episodes.
Oh, of course.
To talk about this. So that's cool.
I was just going to say, to bring back to the whole we should learn everybody's name thing, the characters' names.
Really should.
I'd just like to say Ed Harris's character is called Man in Black.
Perfect.
So Ed Harris.
I was close.
Man in Black.
So he doesn't have a name yet.
He just
Right.
Thus far on IMDb, he's listed as Man in Black.
Very
with
Dark Tower-esque.
10 episodes.
Ed Harris goes in for an audition. So what character did you play in Westworld? I was Man in Black. Number 3.
So my last piece to this is that Westworld takes place in what to the hosts seems like the same day, correct?
Well, it just repeats. So
It
it's
repeats
always
for
the
them.
same day.
It's
For
all
kind of
the
like
same-
Groundhog Day.
For the most part.
them, yeah.
They add variations and so forth. I would not be surprised going into episode 3 tomorrow, which is October 16th. I would not be surprised if we get another person or another character introduced, and I wouldn't be surprised if we're seeing it once again in a different timeline. Or I could be completely wrong. It could be this entire season is based off of the Ed Harris timeline, right? And it could also be based off of Bernard and his corruption within the world. And then future series could be other sections, other characters, and so forth. Because remember, this thing has been running for, they've said, 30 years.
Also,
there's a lot there.
And this isn't going. I don't think this messes up anything. And my prior knowledge is not. Westworld is just one of many. I think they have other timelines and things like that. So that could be.
And
that leaves it open for a lot of things if this does well.
They've done other scenarios, right? Like
Jurassic Park.
Wait a
second.
The
Western world, the Jurassic world.
Like the dad character in the first episode, the father of Dolores.
Yes.
When he started siding off, where he was like the cannibalistic priest or whatever.
Yep.
So that references that.
Also, cannibalistic priest, really? Ooh, gross.
If you ever played Red Dead Redemption, that's actually one
hate
of
that
the,
game. It's
I
very
love that
boring.
game.
That might be why that's one of those. They were a fan of the movie.
But
because
okay. So one thing I wanted to point out, or my theory for the show, is that Westworld goes beyond just the Western world. Everyone else is also. I think almost every character is a host. That's my theory.
Except for Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, I think Anthony Hopkins is one of the few humans left. And the reason I say this, at least through 2 episodes, we've never seen an outside world of any type. The most we've ever seen is a train station that people come in on, which is funny, right? The guests come in on a train to Westworld and then go in on another train to Westworld, right? So what if it's also a world that they're entering? I think there's a lot of levels to this show.
Oh my god!
So that's just the theory I have.
Hey, Christian, you want to play some VR after?
Nope. No.
Yeah, Krishna has completely sworn off the VR headset until Westworld is
so
done.
I'm not gonna lie, I had some
ever.
messed up dreams after watching this show.
Yeah,
it's a great show. It's a great. It's thought provoking.
I think it's an important show too.
Yeah.
But
So they've
Watch
also
Westworld through the VR because that would be
they've
amazing.
they've also the showrunners have also said they've planned out 5 to 6 seasons of the show.
good.
It's all planned out.
Good. Hopefully better than Lost was, J.J. Abrams.
Well, apparently they planned out that show and then they changed their minds.
Oh, well, don't do that, J.J.
So
Abrams.
the other thing that I
I
was thinking about, and this is a true Ravi only thought.
Ooh.
Are you all familiar with the movie The Signal? It's a Lawrence Fishburne indie type film that came out, I think, in 2014, 2015.
Don't think so.
Basically, the premise of the film is a young boy and his friends are on a road trip and they get abducted by what seems to be aliens. They're given enhanced powers and they try to break out. They realize, and this is spoilers, I'm spoiling it for you all because
it's
I have
a movie
to.
from the 1990s. It's okay.
I said 2014, 2015.
Yeah.
I thought you said 1914.
1914.
I don't know.
1914, 1915.
Time travel.
They did have some crazy ideas.
Guys, I
in
can't do this. I can't do this.
It's a 2-year-old movie. It's fine.
So in that movie, basically, the main overall thing is aliens are abducting humans and they're enhancing them and then they're putting them in playgrounds and testing them.
Okay.
And it's revealed he's able to break out because he supersedes his power or whatever, and he tries to escape and he thinks he's in a dome on Earth. Sorry, he's not. He's actually in a controlled habitat on a space station, part of millions and millions and millions and millions other habitats. My theory is Westworld is the same thing. It is a small habitat on either a planet or a space station filled with other habitats. They're not on Earth.
It's like that space station in Doctor Who where each level is a different
game show.
Yeah, the game show thing with the levels.
Yeah,
it's
not to go really messed up, but I feel like our fiction reflects where current thinking is at.
We want to leave.
We're all messed up.
No. We all feel like we're an avatar in a video game. I think that's a very prevailing thought. And keep an eye on it as VR becomes more of a thing.
To jump off of that, and I think this week coming up, Monday, Tuesday, Netflix will be releasing Black Mirror Season 3. Ooh. It is considered the Twilight Zone of our era. It is very technology-based. They're taking major themes, new technologies, and showing a kind of perverted, twisted view on them. I think we should definitely watch those if we like Westworld. And
we should.
And bring that because
Honestly, that's where it's at right now. It really is. It really is. Okay, does anyone else have anything to add for Westworld?
Why is it called WestWorld?
Okay, really?
Anything
You're
else?
not allowed to add things anymore.
Anything else for Westworld?
Why isn't it called like Teddy's Adventure?
All right. So because we've already determined there's not a character named
Teddy? Wait,
Teddy.
James Marsden's character's not named Teddy?
Oh, it is. Oh, wait, that's the one character name you know.
Wait. And
You couldn't remember Dolores, but you got Teddy, who
all I
keeps
know-
getting
and he keeps
killed.
dying.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
every
exactly
time.
why. Because
Wait.
he always dies.
James
James
Marsden
Marsden.
is the Sean Bean of Westworld.
I-
He is the scene bean of Westworld.
I think I said
Oh,
that.
scene
I think I
bean.
said this at some point, but I can't wait till somebody makes a supercut of just every time Teddy dies.
Oh my goodness.
I'll do
would
it.
be
You should do it.
amazing.
Except we gotta wait till the season's done.
Yeah,
at the very
it's gonna
least,
be
'cause
at
he's
least,
gonna
like,
die a
20
lot more
minutes.
times.
All right, let's move on. So, real quick to one of our favorite things to talk about every single week, Star Wars. Rebels season 3.
Never heard of it.
How we feeling? So we are 3.
We haven't. We watched 3 episodes.
2?
yet?
2 episodes.
Oh my god, I don't
Two.
even know. I
Three,
think it's
2,
No, 3.
3,
It's 2 episodes.
3, 4.
Is it
2, and I think this is week 3.
I don't know. We haven't. It hasn't released yet, so that we couldn't.
Sit
or
by swell.
At least earlier this morning, it hadn't released, so we could watch it. But the last episode that we watched was
Wedge
the
antennas.
episode where Sabine infiltrated the Thai pilot training group
And Matt
That's
Wedge.
and
right.
pulled out Wedge and.
Okay, so we're all in the
Who's
same
the other
place
guy?
then.
Not anybody that.
Oh, Christine Overday, the crazy
No, I
pilot.
can't think of it. The other pilot.
Hobby.
Hobby. Yeah. Hobby.
Big Rogue Squadron character,
The-
by the way. If you've read any of the Rogue Squadron
Right.
books, Hobby is one of Wedge Antilles' best friends, along with Wes Jansen. Hobby has a knack for crashing every ship he ever pilots and surviving. That's his thing. That's his MO. That's what happened in Battle of Hoth. There's a scene where he get his fighter gets shot down. You know how they write him into the books. He survived because that's what he does. So I'm curious to see what they do with that.
Also, just to clarify, we've gone through 3 episodes.
No.
And to clarify even further, the first pilot was considered 2 episodes.
Oh, that's why.
So it gets even more confusing.
They all are.
Tricks.
Because they're all 40 minutes or whatever.
No, the season premiere was
No,
40
every
minutes.
every season premiere.
Premiere,
of,
yeah. right.
is
So
a
technically,
couple
we're on
episodes.
episode 5. It's called Hera's Heroes. It was supposed to premiere today. Not sure why it's not showing up.
It may be there now. I looked this morning.
Yeah.
Hopefully soon.
Because my 5-year-old niece wanted to watch it
Classic.
Because she's awesome.
with me because
Yeah.
she's awesome.
She wanted
Because
to support. She wanted to support the Empire.
She knows what's good. So we don't have a whole lot to say about Rebel season 3, unless anyone has anything to say real quick. It's awesome.
No, move on to Rogue One.
It's been.
No, I will.
It's been good.
It's been great,
I'm
as always.
just
I'm not gonna lie.
consistently
I'm not gonna
satisfied
lie.
with the
It's been amazing.
extended universe.
I want more Darth Maul.
I always want more Darth Maul.
No, but you see, Darth Maul is effective because they limit the use of him. So like, by having him show up in like 2 or 3 episodes a season, he's so much more effective. If
Did
you had
we-
him every
wait,
Did
every
we
episode,
discuss
like, it
on
would be bad.
LuZoCast that the theory is that he's going to Tatooine?
Did
that's
we?
where we're
I actually
building
don't
up
know. Did we
towards?
talk about that? So I think both parties will end up in Tatooine.
the twin sons.
Yeah.
Yes.
When
Yeah,
they
yeah,
hit
yeah.
the
That's
Holocron.
Tatooine. That's
Yeah.
Tatooine.
Yes
for
or
both,
no?
for
That
both.
may not be.
Well,
It may
what other
not
planet?
actually be talking
Or-
about suns as an astral body.
Yeah, he may be talking about something else.
Well, so the reason I thought it was Tatooine is because I think Ezra asks like a way to save the Force or his friends or whatever, like the lights. I interpreted it as the light side of the Force, and the answer he got back was Luke Skywalker, as in to continue the Jedi Order, and he got back like he says 2 sons. So I'm thinking he got Tatooine as an answer. So for them to go to Tatooine to
And then
interact
Darth Maul,
with
and didn't
Luke
Darth Maul say
Skywalker.
something like he's still alive?
And that
And
I thought that was Obi-Wan.
Maybe,
There's some
but
theories that
Yeah,
could
but
be Obi.
obviously, so tell us your theory. You have an
Obi
interesting
Kobe.
theory. I can tell. You have to tell it right now on
It-
LuZoCast
well,
episode
it
21.
could.
So Kevin
Yeah, we've talked about
Feige,
that.
Kevin Feige came out. They asked him, and they were
Feige?
like, not Kevin Feige.
Dave
That's
Filoni.
Marvel.
I was like, that's a whole other thing. Dave Filoni.
Dave Filoni. I get them
They're
mixed up
crossing
too.
over.
Oh
Have a
boy.
drink.
It's the same person.
It's 21. We're 21 now. Have a drink.
So David Filoni, they asked him shortly after the episode premiered, and they were like, "Hey, twin sons. He hates Obi-Wan.
Obi-Wan trilogy.
What are you thinking here? Hold on a second. Krishna, here you go.
Thank you.
Make this as obvious as possible. Anyway, and Dave Filoni, he over the years, because he did Clone Wars, right? He's been asked a lot of questions, like, and he's always I would hate to play poker with that.
Oh
man.
my God!
I feel like I would lose because he holds a straight face and he gives answers. In regards to this one, he said something along the lines.
100 times.
He basically says like, well, twins. It's to what Sarah said earlier. Twin suns does not mean two suns, planetary, blah blah blah. It also could mean two twins.
Luke and Leia.
But not sons.
Sure. But then,
Leia's a lady.
She's a lady. But then I had a thought earlier today, actually.
Wait a second.
So. Are you all familiar with this expanded universe thing called the Old Republic?
KOTOR?
Not just KOTOR, but just the
Old
Old Republic.
Republic
So the second expansion pack, it was called something about like the Knights of Heaven, or I don't know, something of that nature. Anyway,
wait, expansion pack for what? Oh,
Knights of the Old Republic.
Video game, the MMOR.
Gotcha.
There are two children of the Force who are twins.
Both boys?
Who are trained by their father, who is very anti-Sith. He's also very anti-Jedi.
Wait, is this kind of like the planet, the Force planet?
Similar to the Force planet, but
from?
they're Force sensitive. And the big thing in the game, in the trailer, and everything that came out for it is that one sun is clearly dark, one sun is clearly light, and it's ultimately the sun who is light that kills the brother who is dark.
That doesn't seem very light.
That doesn't seem very light.
That would seem then that the dark and light are both embodied in that one person who is so completely light but killed his own brother, so therefore he's dark and light.
The other thing that I want to bring up to Dave Filoni's point is the last time we saw Darth Sidious was about 20... Darth Sidious, wow. Darth Maul was about 20 years ago in the Clone Wars. If you read the comics... His Mandalorian troopers, they freed him from Sidious, Death Watch, and he kind of just fell off the planet, essentially. Now we're seeing him all of a sudden in Rebels. There's about 20 years of history and 20 years of things he could have been doing and 20 years of hatred he could have built up for anybody else.
And it's unlikely he spent that whole 20 years on that planet.
Very unlikely. It also in season 2... In that last episode, I think they mentioned that he kind of had crashed there maybe a month or two ago, so he hadn't been there long.
Okay. Also, correct me if I'm wrong. I think you said this when we watched the Clone Wars episode. He was flying a Mandalorian ship, right? When he flew away.
When he flew away, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think he's been doing other things. Yeah. But I'm wondering, and Dave Filoni has also said that they want to incorporate expanded universe things, and the Old Republic has some very rich and interesting stories, and Disney has said they want to make Star Wars more Force and less Sith versus Jedi.
Good.
Well, I like that.
And the thing is,
because that's the way the trilogy's going, the new trilogy's going as well.
And it makes sense too. It's not that yes, of course, like the expanded universe stuff is a lot of it is not canon anymore, but then they bring it back in. That's the thing, is they have all these characters to pull from, this wealth of characters and storylines, plot lines that they can pull from and pull back in. It may not happen in the same timeline that it did in the expanded universe, what they now consider to be the legends versus canon, but they can use that though. They own the rights. They might as well pull from all that's been written. I mean, there's so much out there to use.
Well, so speaking of that, the last thing I want to bring up for Rebels, is anyone disappointed how little Thrawn we've seen so far for like 4 episodes?
Nope, not at all. The same reason that I love Maul in these series is that the less that you show of him, the more impactful when you show him it will be.
What if they never show him?
No, they will. Thrawn in the books.
You barely see him.
Thrawn in the books, you see, in those books, like he has 2 trilogies, I believe, with the books. And he shows up maybe in like 25% of those books. Wow. Every time he shows up, my God, you are hanging on. Those are the best chapters. You're hanging on every sentence that includes Thrawn. I hope that's what I hope, and I think they are doing with the show. But go ahead.
Nice.
Well, yeah. I have an idea. We should have Darth Maul on here.
Mm-hmm.
We should have Darth Maul on this show because then people will be hanging on every word.
That's true. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. If we had literally Darth Maul on the show, this becomes a very different show.
Let him figure it out.
He won't figure it out.
He'll figure it out.
We can have Darth Maul on the show. You realize that, right?
Yes.
He knows.
Yes.
I'm not that stupid. Jesus. Wow. Wow. Okay. So now I know how my coworkers think of me.
Coworkers.
We're coworkers.
We're family.
We're acquaintances now.
Family.
Oh man.
Hey, I didn't imply that was your brothers. Those were your brothers.
It's cool.
To your point, though, where you just said, and I think this might be a good transition. I might be stretching here, but
nope.
You said it's great how Rebels is showing very little of Darth Maul and very little of Thrawn.
Yes.
Oh, I like this.
Is there a trailer that just came out that shows a little bit of another villain?
No. Yes.
The Power Rangers trailer?
Oh man, we're not gonna go there. That's a whole different thing. But you're right. But you're right. Rogue One.
Yes.
The Rogue One trailer 2. The third.
It was the second. It was the second full trailer.
The second full trailer, correct?
Well, it's also the final.
Yeah, before
there's no more trailers after this.
Christian, I want you to start because I actually like your thoughts on it the most.
Oh, you like my thoughts? No, I'm just kidding. So I watched the trailer and the action looked cool as it always has done. The reason that I didn't like it as much is that it was way too obvious with. We need hope. This is a rebellion. It became too much telling instead of showing. And I, storytellers, I just feel like as soon as you start making your message obvious in your whatever medium you're doing it, comics, books, TV, I don't care, movies. As soon as you start telling the audience this is what our message is, it weakens the whole thing. And the trailer seemed to tell me the exact message of what the whole thing is about.
I was just going to say, I feel like that's what trailers have become.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't like most trailers that go on to episodes 2, 3, and 4 for a trailer. If you know what I'm saying. Like, I prefer...
Multiple trailers.
You prefer one
multiple
trailer.
They build their story.
Yes.
And then you have everything before you go in. Gotcha.
Exactly. So
I will argue, I mean, you're right. With Star Wars, though, it's never been... The movies, at least, have never been subtle. The story's pretty much always been on the nose. I feel like, anyway. Through the first 7 movies, it's always been pretty obvious. So I think if it wasn't that way for Rogue One, people might be upset. I think what I'm looking forward to with Rogue One, and you've seen it in all the trailers, is just the action.
For sure.
The grittiness, we're not going to see a lot of Force users in this. It's going to be very grounded and real.
I think we will see Force users.
No, we will.
We're
going to see Vader. I think some of the characters part of this team or whatnot will be Force wielders in some way. Like, what's his name?
Donnie Yen.
Donnie Yen.
Yeah.
I have a feeling he's probably a Force user in some capacity. But
Speaking of Donnie Yen, this is probably going to go way off topic here and bring up a lot of other things here. But do you think Donnie Yen was brought into Star Wars Rogue One to appease to the Asian market?
Well, yes and no. So yes, but also second, he is a great actor in his own stance. You bring in Donnie into anything, guess what? It's gonna be a great. The guy can act. He can, and he physically.
He does martial arts.
Physically, when even he's not doing martial arts, he moves with grace. Yeah. Like, he has presence. It's great. Like, Donnie Yen is a great actor.
He's what Jet Li and Jackie Chan were.
More so.
15, 20
More
years
so.
ago.
Jackie Chan and Jet Li were very reliant on their action. Donnie Yen can actually
act.
He can act better than they can.
Also, I'd like to point out another thing about Rogue One real quick. You guys know the ending of Rogue One has already been spoiled, right?
It's supposed to be 10 minutes.
You mean when we watched A New Hope?
Yes, in
A New Hope. We do know they get the plans. Let's be real.
In A New Hope, in the crawling credits, it says a lot of rebels die. So I'm going to assume everyone in Rogue One, everyone in Rogue One is going to die.
Just about.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
And they get the plans.
It just makes me nervous for this movie. Like, to be honest,
who do you think is going to play a young Princess Leia?
CGI.
Leia won't be in this.
CGI.
Yeah,
She
right
won't
at the
be.
end.
She won't be.
You might. Well, no, you may.
R2D2 and
Here's
the thing,
C-3PO
no.
at least will be in it.
You
Sith
may.
Rebel.
Why
R2
would
definitely
they be-
will be. C-3PO not
He
not
has
necessarily.
the Death Star plan. No,
You
he doesn't.
C-3PO is
not
not
until
necessarily.
after Leia gives
After.
it, and that's
Sorry.
that's in A New Hope. They will not be in it. 3PO and R2 shouldn't be in it at all.
And neither should Leia,
Leia, even
Bail
if she
Organa
is
will.
at all, if
Bail
she
will.
is at
Bail
all.
which is awesome.
But the thing is Bail Organa maybe gets the plans and gives them to Leia.
Yeah,
Possibly.
or-
Then it
But
gets blown
also,
out.
if you see, although that doesn't make sense, but if you see Leia at all, it's probably from a distance and like you don't see a face. That would make sense. I'd be fine with that, you know? Like, because she has to get the plan somehow, but I don't think you have to see Leia. I don't think we have to CGI Carrie Fisher and make her look. Because it's not young Leia, it's Leia that we saw in A New Hope. And
You know what would be great though, and I really wish they would do this, and I know they won't. If there's, so Marvel, for example, right? When Marvel cinematic films come out, there's a little bit of a crossover or a mention in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. show. This is coming out probably where the mid-season break will be for Rebels.
Well, but Rebels,
If
they've
there
already
is
said.
just a wheedle,
They've
wheedle
already
bit.
said there will
can't.
be some. Like, there's going to be references to Rogue One in Episode 8.
but it,
So I would be.
So it's not going to be like huge.
No,
but-
Rebels-
Rebels,
sense.
Rebels TV show,
Yeah.
a mention of that in Rogue One.
yeah, because it takes
Oh,
place
no.
before
It
Rogue
won't.
I
One.
know,
That's the
I
thing.
know,
Rebels
I know.
is still before Rogue One.
Yeah, no, for
It's
sure.
still prior to that, so
But they
it's
still,
no-
but Filoni said
Saul-
there will be organic connections to Rogue
Saul
One.
Guerrera, maybe.
Maybe,
So, he's a
maybe.
great one.
He could be like, "Hi, I was on the Ghost the
It
other
could
day."
be. It could be such a
It was
soft.
great.
It could be such a soft mention in the movie.
It's gonna
I think
be-
it'll
it's
I
gonna
happen.
be a
don't think it's going to be in the
character
movie. I think it'll be
It'll be
in
on
the
the
show.
show. It'll definitely be on
Because
the
the
show.
show's easier to pull it into. There's so much.
So, do you guys think, what's her name, Urso Jones?
Jyn
Jyn
Erso?
Erso.
Do you think she's gonna survive?
No.
We should have we
Oh,
should have
I
like a
don't know.
table,
I
like a
mean,
gambling thing going. Like,
I kinda
who
hope
survived?
not.
Wait, what's her name?
Jyn Erso. I kind of hope not because.
How do you spell her last name? Do you know?
ERSO.
No, she doesn't. She doesn't survive. No, definitely.
How do you know?
I'm based on like my Rogue Squadron books.
Oh,
Which
She
aren't
doesn't
canon
Rogue
anymore.
Which are no longer canon and only considered
know.
actually to be
No,
legends.
trust me, I know that. But even though
they're pulling a lot.
they're not canon, Disney is they're showing me at least they're very respectful to what has come out as canon, and
So
I think that's interesting. Wait, Jyn.
Jyn.
So knowing
Jyn.
Disney,
Yeah.
she'll survive, and this
Yeah,
will
I
be
don't
the
see it.
first in a new trilogy of spin-off Star Wars movies called Rogue One, 2, and 3, and then they'll make a prequel trilogy called Before Rogue One, 2, and 3, and then they'll make a sequel trilogy called After Rogue
4,
One.
5, and 6.
So people,
I don't see it.
So people have asked me as a Star Wars fan, as like a fan, like a nerd geeky fan.
You're a fan?
Right? Do you feel that we're being overwhelmed?
Yes.
Okay.
You
By
feel
Star
overwhelmed?
Wars?
Actually,
to a degree,
can
yes.
this is a great transitioning point. Just the overwhelming of everything to get into our DC TV shows.
You have
Because-
30 seconds. By the way, for
No,
that.
and I just want to actually bring up the larger conversation of TV show ratings across the board, 100%.
And this is all mediums.
This
too.
is all
You
mediums.
should mention that.
This
yeah.
is sports, television shows. News has been on the decline forever, but everything significantly down this year. And I think it's because a lot of media companies have thought the things that work, we're just going to keep mass producing those things. And you're seeing with Star Wars, new Star Wars movie every year from now until forever, right? They just announced, J.K. Rowling just announced that after the Fantastic Beasts, the first movie comes out, there'll be 5 more Harry Potter movies related into the Fantastic Beasts storyline.
Tell us about the DC ratings.
The
right
DC ratings across the board are all down. I have the numbers right here. Flash, the season 2 premiere is 3.6 million. Season 3 premiere, 3.1 million. Arrow, season 4 premiere, 2.75 million. Season 5 premiere, 1.9 million. Legends of Tomorrow, 3.21 million for the ultimate, the series premiere, and the season 2 premiere down to 1.84 million. All across the board.
Sounds like good numbers to me.
That sounds amazing.
For CW, even the lower numbers are still good.
So do you have by chance the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. numbers?
I actually don't have those
Okay.
off the top.
I'm just curious. I'm just curious because we're DC, Marvel, DC right now is obviously some could say they're like the way I look at it is right. Sure, the numbers may be down, but the CW has has maybe 1, 2, 3 viewers here watching potentially 4 shows a week. I mean,
but the numbers don't indicate that, right?
The numbers are down.
Right, but the numbers are down, but that's 4 shows that the one individual is watching.
Yeah,
that's 4 hours of their lives they're giving to the CW.
But exactly.
It all depends.
I think that's the problem.
It still all depends on ratings, though, right? And you've even said you guys, even last year, you would have watched Arrow and Flash at this point in the week. It's Saturday, right? The shows were on Tuesday and Wednesday. You haven't even watched it this week. Maybe that's because you're busy or whatever. But there's also some disinterest there too, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, I mean, I'm getting to the point where especially with the comic book stuff,
right?
I'd prefer to watch it all at once. And I don't like this week to week.
I'm also okay with reading a recap.
Yeah, and I felt
horrible,
the same.
But
whoa,
that's huge.
And I felt
I'm okay. I mean, I want to. That's the thing. I don't mind going back and watching it.
I respect
that. But I'm also okay with taking a look at it and going,
yeah.
okay, that's what happened, and maybe I'll watch it. But
and honestly,
I know that's awful.
I watched Flash and Arrow last night, not because I wanted to, but because I wanted to maybe talk about it on the show.
Well, that's good because you're the only one of us that watched.
And I'll tell you. Let me tell you what happened in the episodes. Right, Arrow.
Nothing.
Arrow. He's training his new recruits. They hate him. Then they kind of like him by the end. There's also some fallout from the Haven Rock nuclear warhead. There's for the show being grounded again, they've brought in another supernatural character called Ragman, who has these magical rags that can.
Oh wait,
Ragman's
he's gonna be the main villain.
No, he's a hero.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
What is a hero?
I will see you all in some other universe. What?
Yeah,
guys,
exactly.
I think what we can tell from here is
Prometheus, the Dark Archer, is the villain.
Oh, that's true.
if you want entertainment, don't go to television. Go pick up a freaking book.
Yes.
And just read the freaking
Yes.
book. You'll get months worth more of entertainment.
You realize that you and I are the only ones here that actively read consistently.
Yes.
I mean, you read some and you don't.
Actually,
go read a book.
I'm sorry.
Or a comic book.
I'm
it
sorry.
doesn't matter.
If you want to get real entertainment and save
Graphic
yourself
novels.
from watching all these terrible shows, watch our show, LuZoCast. Premieres on Sunday, 4:30
p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with segments released
And then
throughout
stays
the week.
on stays on Facebook. Stays on YouTube, so you can just watch it whenever
And
you
it's
want.
free.
And go back and watch it again.
Free.
And like us. And follow us. So you can learn more about what Arjuna saw when he watched the episodes and we read about them later.
So that was Arrow.
Oh, God.
Flash was him finding out all the time differences, having the Barry Allen I failed everything. Everything's awful. I'm a horrible person. Getting a pep talk and then everything's okay at the end.
Wait, is everything okay at the end? Because I will say it's kind of cool at least that some of the time, because I was irritated by the fact that the Flashpoint ended in one episode. So I'm a little glad that they had some.
Okay, so do you want to hear what differences or anything? Is that okay? Is it okay?
That's fine. I've already been reading the recap.
Okay, right. So the major differences in the timeline when he finds out are Iris and Joe aren't talking, which we find out. Cisco's brother Dante died in a drunk car accident, and that's kind of huge.
How recently?
He died a few months before.
Okay.
And then Cisco's brother died, and then
Cisco's alive.
And then Cisco had asked Barry to go back in time and change it, and he refused. In this new timeline.
Because he's already messed everything up.
Right.
Obviously,
he has a new partner played by Draco Malfoy, who might be the best part of the show.
Really? Did he play Draco Malfoy, or did he play an actual character that's not Draco Malfoy?
No, he played a character that's not Draco.
I'm excited to see that.
But he's very antagonistic towards.
So he played Draco Malfoy.
It wasn't
he didn't sneer. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, you watched it?
No. But he showed up in Planet of the Apes.
Oh, that's true.
He was great.
He was Draco Malfoy in that episode.
I hated him so much. And
or
I
in
was
that movie. Sorry.
Wingardium Leviosa.
See, he was very much Draco Malfoy in that movie, though.
He was so
and
good.
That's my thing, is I want to see him play a character that is not blatantly Draco Malfoy. Because I like Tom Felton.
In Planet of the Apes, he was like,
I think he has potential.
They also,
all of a sudden,
if you remember from the last, they brought back the rival, the guy who played the rival was having like these was remembering
things at the end of the first episode.
And then the alchemy guy gave him his powers, and then they stopped him, and then it looks like he died at the end of the episode.
Wait, the alchemy guy or the rival?
Alchemy guy looks like he killed the rival because he got caught. But anyway, so this all happens. Barry tries to go back in time. Jay Garrick stops him and is like, "Oh yeah, Harry told me all about you and to keep an eye on you." It's like you can't go back in time and change everything. He's like, he breaks a cup and he's like, "You see, you can go back in time, but when you try to put it together, it's still the same."
Which Jay Garrick?
The one who looks like his dad.
Okay, thank you. I was just like, it can't be Jay that turned into
real Jay Garrick. Yeah.
Okay.
So then he, at the end of the episode, tells everybody, "Oh, I changed everything," and they're like, "Okay, Iris and Joe are fine."
Wait, what?
Iris and Joe are like, Iris is like, "I forgive you. We're good." Joe.
He didn't go back and change.
He didn't change anything. Cisco, it's like saves Barry by being like vibe and is like, "We're okay now." So all of these conflicts are like resolved.
So I'm gonna
tell you right now.
The only tease they put at the end, and he's like, "Oh, Caitlin, nothing changed for you." Ha ha ha. He walks away, and then she has like the
frozen.
Yeah, she's
she's Killer Frost.
I'll tell you right now.
So
that's it.
One.
So they're throwing a bunch. So they're throwing a bunch of conflicts in the beginning of the episode, and then resolving them all by the end, and then
Killer Frost.
and then hinting at the next conflict, and then I'm assuming the next conflict is going to be. So is that the formula now for Flash?
Actually, I forgot. There's
happened.
The only other difference at the very beginning of the episode, like the first half of the episode, is him rushing over to Felicity in Arrow, and then telling her all about these differences, and he finds out the only other difference, which now affects Arrow. Dig doesn't have a daughter anymore. He has a son.
What? Oh,
that's what they changed.
Call no. No.
So quick thing.
Wait. That's
no.
That's huge.
That's weird and not okay.
So it's
not
now
okay.
the son, like in Legends.
Chauvinistic. Yeah, I mean that. Yes,
that's
okay.
crazy.
That makes some sense, but it's also like weird.
It's weird. It's kind of weirdly chauvinistic in a weird
It
chauvinistic kind of way. Like why? What?
Sarah, talk.
I'm a little irritated.
A lot of people are because they kind
seriously
of
because
killed
it was cool. Like he was a cool dad who loved his daughter, and they could have done a lot with her. Mm-hmm. She could have. I mean, but I thought you were laughing at me.
No.
Sorry, I know it's fine. I thought Robbie was laughing at me for being a little upset. But
no,
I really actually liked that whole daddy-daughter, like the softer side of Diggle. And I get that he can still be the softer side with a son, but it's a different thing, and it's a whole different character. I don't know. It just changes. Dads and sons versus dads and daughters is a different thing, and I think that changes Diggle's character a lot.
Oh yeah, Diggle. They showed some Diggle in Arrow, like his stuff, and he was being framed by the military guys, and I think he's been framed.
So I have a quick question.
Remember.
I have a quick question then. So real quick, ratings are down, but the way you just talked the last 10 minutes, it sounds like your interest is the same or up.
No, it's
the same and slightly irritated.
You talked nonstop for the last 10 minutes,
but
I'm confused.
We will talk nonstop about a lot of things
that
are
doesn't mean
still
I like
irritating.
It's irritating.
No, but you're interested in it.
You talk a lot about sports, and that doesn't mean that I give it.
I don't talk about things
that
much unless I'm interested, so...
He's got a point there.
I really do.
I would say I'm more interested in Flash than Arrow.
Okay, good.
Of course.
Good.
I'll have to watch
that's also
that's
and then if you want to look at the ratings, that's the show that declined the least.
So tell me. So real quick, you have 15 seconds. Tell me why.
Because I want to see more. The reason I'm more interested is because I want to see more changes with Flashpoint. It's a cool arc, and I've been disappointed so far from what I've seen.
Cool. Ravi? Last thoughts.
Real quick. Do they explain in the episodes why these changes happen? Have they explained that yet?
Barry explained it like I went back in time, and I created a third timeline,
messed everything up.
I messed everything up, and he's like crying, and there are tears and whatever.
They just did paradox. They just did Flashpoint Paradox correctly.
What?
So, the whole point of Flashpoint Paradox is not that these major things like Aquaman and Wonder Woman are together and they hate each other and there's a war. Reverse Flash explains it really well in the animated movie. Flash, you ran back in time. You are a sound boom, right? The bullet moved a couple inches. that's the whole point of Flashpoint
ripples.
Paradox. They are doing Flashpoint Paradox still technically.
It's so minor though, and they've already resolved all
it's still
the things.
Yes
for
and
now.
no.
For yes and no.
They've kept them in the storylines, though. You're right, though. Because
Arjuna,
it's the butterfly effect kind of ripple.
I can't believe I'm saying this. Arjuna, you just gave me hope for Flash.
I'm sorry.
Okay, and is this my 15 seconds
Yes,
that I didn't
please.
get?
Take all the time you need.
I think I am just kind of tired of Arrow, and I hope that it redeems itself. And maybe now this change in Diggle's character or whatever might do something, because I'll go back and watch both of them. I'm a little more excited about Flash, but honestly, I want to see Legends of Tomorrow, and I want to see what that does. And honestly, we should watch Supergirl, because I kind of want to see. I kind of want to see.
I'm halfway through the first season.
I don't want to go back and watch. No, wait. Let me rephrase. I don't want to go back and watch last season.
Arjuna.
I know that's awful. I can read the recaps. I know that's sad, but I would like to watch the new season.
Here's your challenge, Arjuna. I'm going to put up 5 fingers. You have 10 seconds to review Supergirl. Go.
Cool. Supergirl's a cool character. Martian Manhunter's in it. She has a team just like in Flash. It's not as cool, but it's also, there's romantic stuff. It's very CW, and that's the end. Goodbye.
Guys, that is episode 21 of LuZoCast. We can drink now. It's legal. And that was awesome. I loved this episode. I really did. Check us out on Facebook, Vine, YouTube,
Instagram, Twitter.
We are
Twitter.
everywhere.
Are we on Snapchat?
Just, you know what?
Nope.
No.
We're not
We
on
will be on
Snapchat. Never
Snapchat.
mind.
We will be on
Never mind.
Snapchat after today.
We have to figure it out.
In general,
look
just
up
look
LuZo
up
Productions.
at LuZo Productions. We'll be there. Send in questions, videos. We would love to answer those. Please do.
Also, like we say every week, Warner Brothers, please contact us.
Everybody else, like us and follow us.
Yeah. We actually didn't call it Warner Brothers too much this week. But yes,
Ravi?
in general, Warner Brothers. Ravi?
They gave me hope with Flashpoint, so.
Yay!
Well,
I'm actually kind of excited.
Warner
I think
Brothers,
we have to go back and
I'm
watch
not
those
excited
episodes.
about anything, so you should call me. 603-911.
Guys, until next week, stay classy.